What's going on, guys? I'm Tim Kelly, joined today by Mike McGarry of the Press of Atlantic City. This is Phillies Stoplight. Mike, the Phillies have to settle for 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, but it was certainly an eventful week beginning on Tuesday, really, when José Alvarado came here. Seemed very contrite, made his apology. It was the first time any of us had seen him, and I think it was the first time a lot of his teammates had seen him since he was suspended in mid-May.
Yeah, and seeing Alvarado back, he said all the right things. He can now begin a rehab assignment. I think it's about 2 weeks until he can officially rejoin the team, but he's going to help. I mean, we'll see what he looks like when he comes back, but adding a left-handed reliever, a guy that was the de facto closer when he was suspended, to get that guy back adds depth to the bullpen. And yes, he can't pitch in the postseason because of the suspension, but you've got to get to the postseason, and Jose can help you do that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, he can help you. And I already foresee this debate on Sports Talk Radio of, well, why are you using him now when he's not going to be able to help you in the postseason? You have to get there, and you want to have the best seeding possible, potentially a bye possible. So you have to get there first. You're right. What I would say, though, he talked about, and he was very contrite, apologized, so I don't want to gloss over that part. But on top of that, he said he's flushed the toilet. That was his phrase on it. And that's true to a degree, but the problem is you can't really move past this when you're not going to be eligible to pitch in the postseason.
Yeah, it's a big loss, and he did express some, I don't want to use pain, but, he was sorry that he can't pitch in the postseason. But you're right, I kind of feel like as an athlete, the only way for him to get past this is kind of say, I flushed it and now I can move forward. The rest of us, we're going to move forward a little less slower than Alvarado.
Right, and I think he can move forward on this on August 19th, but I do wonder on September 24th when they need him to come into a game if it's in the back of his mind that I'm pitching, helping the team get to the playoffs, and then I'm not going to be able to be part of that.
Hey, you're playing the Dodgers, and it's the 8th inning, and you're up a run, and Ohtani and Freeman are coming to the plate. Well, if it was normal, and we had the normal Jose Alvarado, he'd be the guy you grab to go in that spot in the postseason. You're not going to be able to get him in that spot this postseason. So, yeah, it's going to be something in the back of our mind, and the Phillies have to hope that it doesn't cost them a game in the postseason, and it might very well could.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I think there's a fair discussion to be had about whether, once you've served your 80-game suspension, whether it makes sense for you to be allowed to come back for 6 weeks and then you're resuspended again for the playoffs. I get that the easiest way to avoid it is just don't fail a PED test. Right. But there is part of me, and I said the same thing for Jurickson Profar. Yeah. Had the Braves gotten there, it's just like, if you served your 80-game suspension, then you should be able to move forward, in my opinion. I think that is kind of a strange rule.
Yeah, I agree. I think what baseball is maybe trying to do is really have a big deterrent out there, or really drop a hammer on a guy who does get, popped for PEDs. But I agree with you. 80-game suspension, that's just about half the season. And then to miss the postseason on top of it, boy, it does lead you to wonder, does the punishment fit the crime?
Well, and if the 80 games goes into the postseason, so be it. But if it has been long enough that your system has been flushed, you pass all the tests, you're eligible and able to come. I mean, Jurickson Profar, the Braves aren't going to get to the playoffs, but he'll have played for half the season almost, returned again, and had the Braves made the playoffs, then it would have been, all right, you've been back here for 2.5 months, now you're out again. It doesn't really make sense, in my opinion. That rule is, and I also don't understand if if 81 games is exactly half the season, why isn't the suspension just 81 games? That's one of those small things about this that is just stuck in my head. Like, why wouldn't the suspension just be half the season? But in any event, that's one thing that happened this week. And then today, kind of out of the blue, the Phillies announced that Zack Wheeler, who had been scheduled to start Friday in Texas, will instead go on Sunday. The good news is he's still pitching in the series, but he had some shoulder soreness after this last outing and had some imaging done. It sounds like the imaging was good, but it's still a 35-year-old power pitcher that has some shoulder soreness.
Yeah, it raises a red flag or a red light or whatever you want to call it, and it's definitely worth following, obviously, going forward. I mean, you have Zack Wheeler, who throws that complete game one-hitter against the Cincinnati Reds on July 6th. In 4 starts since then, his ERA has been around 5. Now we're holding Zack to a high standard.
Yeah.
I mean, against the Tigers, he struck out 10, didn't walk anybody, gave up 3 home runs. A normal guy goes out to the mound, we're patting that guy on the back. Zack Wheeler, we expect a little bit better because he's of the high standards he set for themselves. But it is concerning. You look at the history. He skips the All-Star game. He comes out late out of the All-Star game. Now he's being pushed back again. He complains about a lack of fastball command. His words, not ours, you know. And the velocity down a tick in his last start. Then he goes for an MRI. You know, I would expect there to be some nervous Phillies fans on Sunday to watch Wheeler take the mound on Sunday.
Well, and I hadn't even considered the All-Star thing until you said it a little while ago. So many guys opt out of the All-Star game now that I just kind of don't focus that much on it. But the thing about that is, like, it was in his hometown. He had talked about how
he might have started the game.
Yeah, and I thought maybe he didn't get picked to start the game, and because of that, it was just kind of, I'm better off taking some time off. And coming out of the second half, it's not that uncommon for pitchers to get a little extra time in the middle of the season when they've had a big workload. But it goes without saying that you need Zack Wheeler to be good. And I would tend to think he will be fine moving forward. He's had a few of these scares. He had a forearm thing last year. I think he also did in 2022 as well. And they gave him a little rest and things worked out fine. Probably that happens here, but it is a reminder. This is a 35-year-old pitcher that you only get so many chances with this guy. People have focused in on the window is through 2027. There's no guarantee that Zack Wheeler is still going to be pitching anywhere near this level the next 2 seasons.
Right, and it's concerning because what is the strength of this Phillies team? It's the starting pitching. So you're looking at Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez, that 1-2 punch, that's the strength of the team. And when the starting pitcher goes down, the ace of the staff goes down, it hurts any team. But if the ace of this team goes down, it means even more because this team relies so much on its starting pitcher.
Well, and especially in a year where Aaron Nola has been down, he'll be back relatively soon, maybe even at the end of this road trip. But you've been without him for the whole season, or for most of this season now, and when he pitched, he wasn't the same. Jesus Luzardo has kind of been all over the place since a hot start. Christopher Sanchez is probably one of the top 10, if not top 5 pitchers in baseball right now. But you saw it today. Like, you're relatively thin. If, like, Ranger Suarez doesn't pitch well, you don't have the option of Mick Abel coming up anymore and make that trade 100 times out of 100. But you are thin on starting pitching depth right now. So if Zack Wheeler had to go on the IL for 3 weeks or something, you'd really be thin, even as well as Taijuan Walker's pitching.
Yeah, there's some cracks there, some worry spots. Now, all ball clubs have it, but again, you're talking about the Phillies. The strength of the team is the starting pitching. So when one of those guys down, it hurts a little bit more here in Philadelphia than it would for another team that maybe relies more on its offense or more on its bullpen.
Now, the Phillies are going to head to Dallas, Texas, Arlington, whatever you call it, this weekend for a 3-game set with the Rangers. It's part of a 10-game road trip. And honestly, I think this is the only 10-game road trip of the season, and there hasn't been one 10-game homestand this season, which I don't remember ever happening before. But I guess as part of the balanced schedule, that's just the new way things go now, and I kind of like it this way. But the Rangers are a team that kind of felt out of it like a month ago, but then they went 16-9 in July, and they've gotten off to a pretty good start here in the second half. So you're going to have Sanchez, Luzardo, and Wheeler, which presumably is a really good 3, but you're facing a team that also has really good starting pitching.
Yeah, Jacob deGrom is back. He's pitching well, and Texas kind of has its mojo back a little bit, as you said. And this is a big trip. I mean, the Phillies will leave here, depart on the trip with a 2.5-game lead over the New York Mets. Let's see what the lead is at the end of these 10 days. The teams have 2 big series coming up, I think the end of August and September, between the Mets and the Phillies. That'll go a long way towards deciding the division. But this 10-game trip, if the Phillies can maintain this lead or maybe even build on it by a game or two, they're going to be in pretty good shape as far as the NL East goes. And I think it's kind of imperative for this team to either get a bye or win the division, again, because of that starting pitching. If they get a bye, they get to save Wheeler and Sanchez for the division series and not have to waste them in a wild card series. So it'll be interesting to see what is the Phillies' lead when they at the end of this 10-game trip. They could be in good. If it's 3.5, 4.5, they're going to be in good shape.
Yeah. If
they come back tied, it's going to be a dogfight to the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. If you're up 5 games in the division at the end of this trip, I'm not saying the NL East is a wrap, but you're in 80% probability of winning the division territory.
I mean, even to be up 2.5 now, you're in good shape. I mean, everybody remembers 2007, the Phillies rallied from 7 down with 17 games to go. There's a reason why I all remember that. It doesn't happen too often. That's why we remember it. 2.5, 3 games, 4 games, 5 games towards the end of August, you're in good shape. So this is a key trip for the Phillies right here. And you're right, it's kind of a weird trip. Texas, Cincinnati, and Washington.
Yeah,
3 teams
no
are nothing
theme.
together.
You're not going to the West Coast. You're going to, I guess, 2 central time zones. Is Cincinnati central time zone?
Barely, if that, you know.
So you're going to 2 central time zones at completely different parts of the map, and then you come back to DC for 4 games. So a weird trip, but one that the Phillies have a chance to continue on their division lead with. So that's going to do it for this episode of Phillies Stoplight. Check out Mike's work on the Press of Atlantic City, and we'll talk to you guys next time.